Have any of you ever wandered into a world, like a room, not connected to reality? For example, maybe it was much bigger on the inside than it was on the outside. I had an experience like that once. It was while I was camping in Canada. I was near the Rockies, hiking with a group of friends. It was still only around noon. The sun was in the sky, and there was not a single cloud for miles. We happened to find a cave, tucked away behind some trees. My friends and I felt something from inside the cave. It's the feeling you get when something that hates you is staring at you. I remember feeling extremely unnerved, but that only made my urge to explore the cave greater. I tried to convince my friends to go in with me. They refused, but I, ever the brave soul, donned my phone's flashlight and decided to go in. They said they'd give me 10 minutes. The cave was relatively easy to navigate, almost like it was man-made. There weren't many obstructions along the path, and it was wide enough for me to walk through comfortably. But then something changed. I reached the end of the cave and found many words carved into the stone. I only managed to read one before my phone, which had 70%, died. It said, "Don't look at the sun." I walked back the way I came, the only way I could possibly go. It should have occurred to me that the path I was walking on was somehow different, but I chalked it up to having no light. In my case, I made it out of the cave. My friends weren't there anymore, and the sky, well, the blue sky, was now blood red. It was definitely the same spot, but the sky was different. My friends were gone, and the forest looked very not alive. The grass, the trees, everything had these black, deceased splotches all over them. There were insects all over the place. Flies, centipedes, etc. No spiders or worms. Nothing good. I was freaking out. I tried getting my phone to work, but I couldn't get it to turn on. How long did you stay there? I was on the other side for less than 15 minutes. Most of the time was spent inside the cave, trying to get my phone to turn back on. I was only outside under the red sky for like 2 minutes. That sun, as far as I could gather, from the writing in the wall, was connected somehow to whatever predator stalked the people who got stuck there. It seems like staring at the sun for whatever reason, I don't know, wakes them up, summons them. Anything to do with the predators cannot be confirmed. I never actually saw one. But I will say this, that feeling of something that hates you staring at you, cursing your name, wishing you dead. That feeling was so intense that when I looked at the red sun, it was practically what made you freeze up and stare. OP here. I'll answer any questions I can. Really though, I'm hoping someone else who's experienced something similar has any insight. Anyways, I looked up and I saw the sun. It was a blindingly bright crimson orb. I found myself staring at it, even though it hurt my eyes. But I ended up getting distracted by something in my peripheral vision. I couldn't quite place what it was, but I noped the fuck out of there. I ran back into the cave almost immediately, tripping on rocks and shit, and rushed back to the dead end. And then, nothing. Just nothing. I heard my friends calling my name. I ran towards them, and noticed a path that was much smoother. When I got out, I immediately asked them if they saw anything fucked up. I was covered in scratches and marks from hurting myself on the rocks in the other cave. I checked the power button on my phone, and sure enough, it worked. I felt really weird after. I made up some excuse about feeling sick, and went back to our camp, and just stayed by myself the whole day. The next night, I tried to go back, dragging another friend with me, with 2 flashlights, but we couldn't get it to work. That being said, the writing on the cave wall was still there, and was probably the only thing that made me accept that this was real and not some fucked up psychotic trip. The words on the wall said this: "Don't look at the sun. Help us. I want to go home. Where are they? They're following me. I can't go back. Why?" Things like that. From the writing, several things became clear. 1. I wasn't the first person to see the other side. 2. It seemed a lot of people who did see the other side never came back. 3. There was something on the other side stalking them, possibly some kind of predator, like the fucked up Bizarro World version of a mountain lion perhaps. I don't know. But there was more than one, according to the writings on the wall. I considered trying to get through again, but I decided against it. I'm brave, but not that brave. I know that there's something evil about the other sun. It was hypnotic. OP, is this serious? I can't tell if this is 100% true. OP here. I can say this is 100% true. I don't know how to prove it without going back there though. It's 7 hours from my current home, and I don't really want to risk getting stuck on the other side. OP, where's the cave? Did you take some photos of it? OP here. I did not take pictures, but it was in the vicinity of Kakwa Provisional Park. I'm shit with maps, but if I went back there, I could find the cave again. Can you give some sort of directions for an Anon willing to go there? Starting from wherever, but as accurate as possible? How did you get home, and where are your friends? OP here. There was a cave that you could see to the back of from the outside. If you threw a rock into it, it would echo like it was a huge cavern. We all thought this shit was nuts, and no one had the balls to go in. I know you weren't there for a very long time, but did it seem earthly to you? Or like a whole different dimension? It looked like a twisted version of Earth. The cave was much more rough on the other side, and the rocks were sharper. The sky, as I said, was blood red. There was trees and grass, but it was covered in black spots. The whole area had this sickly feel to it. If I had to describe it with a simile, I'd say it was like the earth caught a flu. It felt like I was in the same place physically, but looking at it through a different lens. It was otherworldly, but I could still tell it was Earth. Does that make sense? Sorry if my answer is all over the place. Maybe it has something to do with the elevator game. People describe that world to have a red sky and a sickly look to it. Can you mark it on Google Maps, OP? Like I said, I'm not good with maps, but I'll try later. Interesting. I didn't meet a girl, but this is very similar to what I have experienced. I wonder if caves like that one, I wonder if caves like the one I found were the original elevator game. In any case, it's comforting to know that there are people who found pathways to the other side. It helps me with thinking I'm not crazy. I guess you can say that the elevator game is a brute force method. Then again, the risk is the girl. And the cave risk appears to be the entirety of the fucking sky. It's worth noting that with the elevator entrance, you wouldn't be exposed to the sun unless you left the whole building. So you'd be safe from that if you use that kind of pathway. With the cave it's different. There's no apparition. But there's the problem that looking up at the sun, which, as I mentioned before, mesmerized me, probably has the same effect as interacting with the girl. I work at a radio station corp as an engineer, and I'm posted in an area from Prince George to Jasper. We have a time codes alert system for forest fires or wild animal movements in the park for campers to get radio updates. The whole area is fucked, random dB, losses of signal. That shouldn't happen, and we get calls from hikers and campers that radio alerts from other times are playing. One was a guy heard one about a snow avalanche that happened 6 months earlier or so. We looked up the logs. Sure enough, it existed. Kakwa is fucked. Bermuda Triangle of shithole Canada, LOL.